Hitler is making his plate return from hell in Zombie Army 4 Dead War, which is where players left him at the end of Zombie Army Trilogy at Episode 3 2019. This latest Sniper Elite standalone spin-off offered a comfortingly fun demo of gory zombie shooting, another potentially Moorish four-player co-op shooter to join the growing ranks that have emerged since Left 4 Dead 2. You'll be taking survivors through formerly picturesque southern Europe, now occupied by Hitler's undead. My PC demo was actually in single player and I played as Sniper Elite protagonist Carl, who's among several other returning characters in this entry. That means I carry a sniper rifle and shotgun, but on top of that I have an electric fist melee attack that's good for knocking zombies back too. There's an 80s genre movie influence hanging over the game, which is most noticeable in the moody John Carpenter-esque music. Sniper Elite's kill cam returns in Dead Army, along with an explosive cam for when you kill a lot of zombies at once. Say, with the careful placement of an explosive, you'll also encounter different variants of zombie naturally, with exploding undead turning up towards the end of this demo. There's a lot of satisfaction in picking them off from a distance through a sniper scope. Nothing about what I play feels particularly new, but it's a very pretty game that captures a lot of what I currently enjoy about playing co-op shooters on PC. A new Rainbow Six has appeared called Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Quarantine, and developed out of Rainbow Six Siege's home studio of Ubisoft Montreal. The game will be taking one of this generation's best PvP games and retooling it for co-op. A three-player cooperative game. Players will have to adventure into some sort of quarantine area to fight some sort of beastie. Ubisoft plan to make this a co-op experience with the same sort of pedigree as the PvP shooter. As Rainbow Six Siege has brought us some 4 years of content, it's fair to say they'll probably make a decent crack at it. Ubisoft previously tested a PvE mode called Outbreak in a previous operation, and while that's now been lost like tears in the rain, it seems some of that action will inspire Rainbow Six Quarantine, although it's unclear if they will use the lore that was tossed out around that mode. The trailer seems to suggest a new spookier past, but we're eagerly hoping for more information in the near future. I'm 1,700 hours into Rainbow Six Siege at this point, so the idea of another place to ply my trade of playing Rainbow Six is something I am very content with. With a three-player co-op, it'll also feel How can you feel anything but astonishment as you look out upon what Techland is engineering here? There's this moment in the opening minutes of the new Dying Light 2 gameplay demo that immediately sells the concept behind this monstrous creation, where player protagonist Aiden Caldwell opens up a door from the dimly lit confines of Frank's bar and steps out into the sprawling metropolis that is the city here. Gazing out across the shattered high-rise structures of District 2, I met with this sickening feeling swelling in the pit of my stomach. I honestly couldn't tell you whether that's just, or if it's just my brain attempting to process a sense of awe on a scale that I'm not yet able to properly pass. Regardless of which of the two it is, I do know and recognize in an instant that Dying Light 2 is operating to a scale and scope the likes of which I have never seen before in an action RPG. To that end, everything about Dying Light 2 feels impossibly well realized. And listen, I understand that the demo is running on a PC powerful enough to render the National Missile Defense System inert, but the impressiveness on display here extends far beyond the shimmering graphical and performance presentation on full display from Techland. If it wasn't apparent when you're standing atop a rooftop, it sure as hell is made clear once you get yourself down to street level. Dying Light 2 makes you feel like little more than a loose thread in a large tapestry. Not long after a recent State of Play gave us an official release date in September, news recently came to light that we now won't be able to play The Last of Us 2 until May next year, despite fears that the game would end up a PS5 exclusive. The sequel to the critically acclaimed The Last of Us will be with us in mid-2020. Even better, we've finally been allowed to go hands-on with the game and we'll have lots of new information to share on September 26th. Until then, here's everything we do know and a few rumors too into this handy guide to all things The Last of Us 2. We haven't seen Joel yet, but no, he's still around, as the latest episode 3 gameplay demo makes explicit reference to Ellie's old man still that doesn't name Joel explicitly, so there's still a chance his presence will be a psychological one rather than a literal one. Naughty Dog does love misdirecting its audience before its big game's release when discussing the possibility that the game might follow a new cast. Director Neil Druckmann has stated that The Last of Us is about these two characters, specifically at last year's PlayStation Experience Part 2 feat is saying this is going to be a larger story. It's going to be a complementary story to the first game, but together the two combined are going to tell this much larger tale. Capcom just released the first official screenshots for the Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. These screenshots showcase some of the characters and environments and will give you an idea of the game's graphics. Resident Evil 3 stars Jill Valentine as she escapes from Raccoon City while being pursued by the unrelenting bioweapon Nemesis. Players can also participate in previously untold Umbrella experiments on the outskirts of Raccoon City in the included online asymmetrical multiplayer game Resident Evil Resistance, previously known as the working title Project Resistance. In addition, as also the first comparison video between the remake and the original versions has surfaced online. This video compares the 3D models of the game's main characters. Now obviously the remake looks better, however it's really cool comparing these two versions in case you didn't know. Resident Evil 3 originally came out 20 years ago in 1999. As such, this comparison video showcases the graphical evolution of Resident Evil 3, hot on the heels of Capcom's excellent remake of Resident Evil 2. An equally pretty Resident Evil 3 remake is on the way and releasing sooner than expected. The graphical upgrade is a gigantic leap forward from the original PlayStation, of course, but still, man, look at those faces. But please don't linger too long on Nemesis's new face, lest the nightmares take hold just like the Resident Evil 2 remake. The Resident Evil 3 remake includes gameplay updates like proper over-the-shoulder shooting and modern controls. Here's everything we know so far about the Resident Evil 3 remake.